So an article today from the South China Morning Post talking about menstrual leave. So if you're not really certain about what menstrual leave is, basically women every month, now this may be a shock to some of you, but every month women may experience some discomfort due to menstruation. And it's actually quite difficult because you can be bleeding, it can be quite painful, it can last a long time. And so in some places in the world, in this article it talks about Japan, starting in 1947, actually allow for menstrual leave. Now, there is a British company that employs 31 staff. Only 7 of them are men, and they're going to start allowing women to go on leave due to the menstrual cycle. Okay, totally no problem with that. Now, the article goes on to say that women who want to pursue a career or simply improve their living conditions by earning wage often find they need to compromise their aspiration to have a family. Okay. Yes, that's just the way it goes. If you want to work, you have less time to take care of children. That's a choice you make. I'm not sure what this paragraph has to do with anything. Some employers are sadly still reluctant to make their workplace more family-friendly. Well, what is this person talking about? Well, let's delve in further. Due to continual improvements of educational opportunities for women, female undergraduates outnumber their male counterparts in professional bodies today. Okay, fine. An unsupportive working environment is sometimes a cause of human resource wastage and shortage. Our work environments need to be further improved to attract women to stay in the workforce. Why? What? You just said that women outnumber their male counterparts in many professional bodies today. And that's without the work environments being what this author is saying or what this writer is saying, really attractive for women to stay there. So if a lot of workplaces already have more women than men, why do they have to make it more attractive? It's already attractive enough to outnumber men. That sounds like it's quite attractive. The government has invested so much in education our university graduates. Totally debatable. I will provide a link to one of my previous videos describing how university graduates are getting poorer, and even though they're spending more time in education, their living standard is dropping precipitously. Creating a more supportive environment to keep women at work is good for the whole of our society. Why? You've already said, like I already stated, that there are already more women in lots of professional workplaces than men. So why do we need to make it even more attractive or more supportive? That makes no sense. It's already supportive enough. In Australia, most workplaces in the university sector professional bodies have adopted flexible working arrangements without the loss of productivity or compromising on standards. Okay. You need to post some links or some information. I have no idea what the author's talking about. Simply stating that, oh yeah, they don't lose productivity. I'd like to see that. For example, if you are going to go on menstrual leave for the day, then how is productivity not affected? Now, granted, person who's a woman who's going to work and is menstruating that day or those few days or whatever, their productivity will be affected as well. But simply not going to work that day, you just lose all the productivity. Instead of someone just losing some productivity due to menstruation, you lose 100% of the productivity. So I don't understand what working arrangements can be done. I don't understand. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't get it. Okay, it's talking now. This is the one thing that is very, very odd from the entire article. Our whole society is paying a huge cost to achieve worker efficiency. Okay, sacrifice well-being of employees and their families. Well, that's just the way it goes. You can thank all the money printing and all the governments and all the government workers stealing your money, but you wouldn't talk about that. It's not something to be proud of. It's also not something to be proud of if you diagnose the problem incorrectly. Yeah, we need to work hard, smart. Squeezing ever more into employees' working hours is not going to be sustainable. No healthy company can survive for long on this model. By paying attention to the well-being of employees, whether male or female, a win-win situation for all could be established. Isn't that what working is, though? Like, when you find a job, don't you negotiate with the employer about what benefits and wages and all those other things that you can get? Can't you just negotiate for it? I don't understand what this person is talking about. Because these companies haven't had menstrual leave since the dawn of time. In Hong Kong, anyways. And they've all survived. So what do you mean by no healthy company can survive for long on this model? Does that mean that Cafe de Coral that's been around for 40 years is unhealthy? I don't understand. It survived for 40 years. How about 7-Eleven? They don't have menstrual leave. They've been around forever. I don't understand. It makes no sense. It is very unfortunate that some employers still have a short-term vision and not willing to invest in people to raise productivity. How is giving people days off investing in their productivity? It's not explained here. It's just stated as though it's a fact. Well, no, you can't just say it. You have to show it. I don't see how that makes any sense. Hong Kong's efficiency miracle can't be built on the exploitation of long working hours and cheap labor costs. Okay, now the fact that this person uses the word exploitation means that he is trying to not really logically present his argument, but simply by trying to color the conversation in such a way that, if you're working long hours at cheap labor costs, you're being exploited. Yeah, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like the Communist Manifesto. You're not being exploited because you choose to work there. You don't have to work there. You can work less hours and make less money. You can work somewhere else. The fact that you choose to work at a place means that you believe that that is the best deal that you can currently get with the set of skills and knowledge that you currently have. That is not exploitation, okay? No one forces you to get a job. No one. If you don't want to work at McDonald's, then you don't work at McDonald's. You work somewhere else. If you don't want to work there, you can choose someplace else. You can work anywhere you want, and people can employ anyone they want, and you make a deal. This is not exploitation. Exploitation has to do with manipulation or coercion or force, and those are not there. Now, manipulation, coercion, or force, you know where you find that? You find that from the government, but you don't find that from business. So, there was a bitter fight with employers for 3 days of parental leave for male employees last year. I don't know why. It makes no sense. The community as a whole should be more aware of women's needs. Making period leave available would be a small step in recognizing women's contributions and would help us develop a truly global city. Paul Yip is a professor of communism and doesn't understand basic economics. Okay, you have to understand. If you hire a woman and you give her menstrual leave, and you can totally do that. As long as the government doesn't mandate, you can make that choice. You also have to understand, by doing that, there's going to be lost productivity. For example, if a woman goes on menstrual leave 1 day a month, that's going to be about a 3% reduction in the amount of work that woman does. To offset this, a 3% reduction in wages is basically what will occur. Because in economics, nothing is free. So even if you negotiate with your company or the government mandates it, just like the 3-day parental leave for male workers, all companies will do is they will subtract your pay from the benefits because that costs something, right? So this new 3-day male parental leave, people are like, oh, great, I can have 3 days off. But companies understand that these 3 days are subtracted from the work efficiency and the work productivity over a year. And so what they'll do is they'll make a calculation and adjust your wages accordingly. Or they raise prices. Or they do something. They cut quality. Because it's never really free. And if you can't understand that, then let's take a really, really extreme example. Then let's make parental leave or menstrual leave. Let's not make it 1 day a month. Let's make it 15 days a month. Let's make it 25 days a month. then you'll see it's not really free. Just because it's really minute currently, the costs seem to be, shifted somewhere else that you can't feel them. But the reality is that the choice is being taken away from the worker and being given to the government or to someone else. And so you don't have the ability to negotiate. If I'm a man and I get parental leave, but I don't have a wife, what happens is this. The company will make a calculation and then subtract wages from all men to pay for that. So it's a subsidy from men who don't have a wife, who are not going to have children, to men who do have wives and that are going to have children. The cost will be borne somewhere, but you may not be able to see it. So no, this is not a way to make the city more global. It's not a way to recognize women's rights and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, if you want it, negotiate for it. But don't pretend that you're helping everybody if you force everybody to listen to this. Okay? It has to come from somewhere. Nothing is free. So, Paul Yip, time for you to go back. Actually, don't go back to school because you went to school and you obviously learned nothing. Paul Yip, it's time for you to think for more than 5 seconds about the problem, and then you can open your trap.